All right, cricket fans, are you ready? Today, we're going deep. We're asking the big question. Is India just that good at cricket? Or is there something else going on? We found some takes on this from Mighty Podcast, and let me tell you, they did not hold back.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not just like people talking, India's won 55 out of 84 ODIs since 2020. That's
Yeah.
that's setting a whole new bar.
Yeah, but, I mean, every team has hot streaks, right? So what makes this one so different?
I think it's how to be they're winning. Their batting average is 40 runs per wicket, which basically means they're always scoring tons of runs. Bowlers can't seem to touch them. And they're not just playing slow and steady either. They're scoring almost 6 runs and over. Almost as aggressive as, England's Bazball.
So it's like they've got this, perfect blend of power and consistency.
Exactly. And it's not just a team thing. You see it in the individual stats, too. 5 of the top 10 ODI run scorers since 2020, they're all Indian. Rohit Sharma, dude's hit 103 sixes in that time, more than anyone else by far.
Yeah, but everyone knows Rohit's a monster. What about the rest of the team? Is it all just a few stars carrying them?
That's where it gets really interesting. Their depth is crazy good. Like, take Mohammed Shami. He leads in 5 wicket hauls, and he's got the best strike rate out of all the bowlers who've taken 50-plus wickets.
Wait, hold on. Break that down for me. Why is that strike rate so important?
Well, it means teams can't just kind of wait Shami out, hoping he'll have a bad over. They have to take risks against him, and that leads to, well, more wickets. It's all part of India's plan.
So it's not just individual talent. It's like a whole system built to put the pressure on.
Yeah, exactly. And that system, it's in their batting, too. The podcast called it the Hydra effect, which I think is spot on. Look at Virat Kohli. He's leading the tournament in runs without a single six.
Seriously. No sixes, and he's still at the top.
Wow, that's a stat I did not see coming. It just shows how adaptable they are. They don't need Kohli to go big every time. You've got Axar Patel at number 5 and super effective, keeps that left-right batting combo going, Even Varun Chakravarti, who got dropped earlier, comes back and wins a match against New Zealand in the semis.
Okay, so they've got that next man up mentality. But isn't that a bit risky? Like, what if the main players get complacent, knowing they're easy to replace?
That's a fair point. But so far, it seems like it's just creating more competition within the team. Everyone wants their spot, keeps the standards high. It's a nightmare for other teams, though. How do you plan when anyone in that India lineup can take you down?
All right. Before we go full-on India praise, we got to talk about this tournament setup. It's officially hosted by Pakistan, but India's playing all their matches in Dubai. Even the final, it's basically a home away from home, right? Isn't that a bit of an advantage?
It's definitely something to think about. Playing conditions do matter. But to say it's the only reason they're winning, that's way too simple. Don't forget, this is the same team that won 10 straight matches in the 2023 World Cup, and that was held all over India, different venues, and they won a T20 World Cup in the U.S. and the West Indies, too. Totally different conditions there.
So they've proven they can handle different places. It's not just Dubai.
Exactly. It's a mix of things. Talent, adapting their strategy, and this, winning mindset that seems to work anywhere they go.
Okay, but we got to talk about the big thing, right? The money. The podcast was pretty upfront about how much financial power India has in cricket.
Yeah, the BCCI, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, it's huge financially. 30 times wealthier than Cricket Australia. To put it in perspective, Virat Kohli's net worth is more than the entire Australian Cricket Board.
So is India basically too big to fail now?
Mm-hmm.
Does the sport need them to be successful?
Now, that's a good question, and there's a real argument there. Indian fans, they're the heart of cricket's global revenue. That gives the BCCI a lot of power, They can call the shots, choose where they play, even have a say in the whole cricket calendar.
And this is where it gets tricky, right? On one hand, it's awesome that India is bringing so much money and attention to cricket, but does all that financial power mean they have an unfair advantage?
That's the million-dollar question. It's all tangled up. Money, power, how well they play. It's something we definitely need to dig into more.
Well, this deep dive is getting pretty deep already. It's clear that India's dominance is about more than just wins and losses. It's this whole world they've built, and the rest of cricket is trying to figure out what to do about it.
But it goes beyond just the money, It's also about the passion, the sheer number of Indian fans.
Right, like cricket's almost a religion there. But how does that actually, translate into power on the world stage?
Think about it. All those fans, that means huge viewership, right? And that means big bucks for broadcasters and sponsors. Plus, you've got the Indian diaspora spreading cricket love everywhere, dedicated fans in the US, the UK, Australia, you name it.
So you're saying the Indian market's just too big to ignore?
Exactly. Other cricket boards, anyone organizing tournaments, even the ICC, they all gotta consider what India wants.
That explains why they were able to play all their matches in Dubai, even though Pakistan was supposed to host.
Right. And their refusal to play in Pakistan, well, it's really messed things up between them. It's all tangled together. Politics, economics, the sport itself.
It makes you wonder, is all this influence actually good for cricket in the long run?
It's tough to say. On the one hand, India's bringing in tons of money, getting people interested, but then there's the question of fairness. Can other countries really compete when it's like this?
So to really get India's place in cricket, you can't just look at how they play. You got to understand the whole system they've built.
Absolutely. They went from underdogs to the top, and it's like a reflection of how the sport itself became global. And with all their fans, their money, India's been a driving force in that.
So what's next? For India, for cricket in general, will they stay on top, or will others find a way to challenge them?
It's hard to predict. Some people say India can't keep this up forever. Others say they'll just get more powerful.
What do you think?
Honestly, I think India's raised the bar for everyone. They've shown what happens when you invest in infrastructure, develop young players, use data to your advantage. Other countries have to step up if they want to keep up.
So India's success could actually make the whole sport better.
That's what we hope for. Competition pushes everyone to get better, and that's good for everyone involved. Even if India keeps winning, it could lead to a more exciting time for cricket.
That's an interesting way to look at it. It's not just about winning or losing. It's about how it changes the game itself.
And India's impact is huge, no question. They've changed how cricket is played, watched, even how it works financially.
It's gone way beyond just analyzing matches. It's like we're looking at global dynamics,
Yeah,
you know?
that's what makes this deep dive so cool. It's not just about sports, it's about culture, economics, global power.
Okay, before we wrap this up, let's bring it back to the final. India versus New Zealand. Two powerhouses going head-to-head.
And there's this whole story developing, right? India, the unstoppable force, against New Zealand, who always seem to do better than expected.
A classic underdog story.
Yeah.
But let's be real, this New Zealand team is no joke.
Oh, for sure. They've got a balanced team, good leadership, and that classic Kiwi spirit. They can beat anyone on a good day.
Their bowlers are world-class, and their fielding is amazing. They save runs and put the pressure on like no other team.
India might be the favorites, but they can't afford to underestimate New Zealand.
So what should we watch for in this final? Any key matchups or tactics that could decide the game?
Well, I think that clash between India's top batsmen and New Zealand's fast bowlers is going to be huge. Can Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli handle that early pressure from guys like Trent Bolt and Tim Southee? You know, that could really set the tone for the whole match.
Yeah, and then there's the spin bowling to think about. India's got a seriously strong spin attack with Ravindra Jadeja and Axar Patel. Can New Zealand's batsmen handle that turning ball in Dubai? That's a tough one.
It is. And then on the other side, you've got to wonder how India's batsmen will deal with Ish Sodhi, New Zealand's leg spinner. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Spin bowling could be the deciding factor in this final.
It's always interesting to see how those different playing styles match up, you know. But beyond the technical stuff, you also got those players who can just, like, change the game in a moment. Who are you watching for?
For India, Surya Kumar Yadav is the one. His batting style is so unique, and he can score runs so quickly. For New Zealand, keep an eye on Glenn Phillips. He can hit the ball a mile and change the game in just a few overs.
So we've got some exciting individual battles to look forward to. But in the end, it's about the team, right? Which team do you think has the edge when it comes to strategy and knowing how to play the game?
Well, India's been the more consistent team throughout this whole tournament. They've adapted well to different conditions, different opponents, and they seem to have a clear plan.
But New Zealand, they're known for being clever tactically. Always thinking outside the box. Maybe they have some surprises ready.
That's true. They're a well-organized team, and they've been in these big games before. It wouldn't be a shock if they had a plan to counter what India does best.
All right, so the big question, who do you think is going to win it all?
You know, I really admire New Zealand's fighting spirit, but I have to go with India. They have so much depth, so much experience, and they're in top form right now.
Right.
But you can never count New Zealand out. They could definitely pull off an upset.
I agree. It's going to be an exciting final. Can't wait to see who wins. But no matter what, this tournament has been full of amazing talent.
For sure, we've seen some incredible skill, athleticism, and sportsmanship. It's a reminder of why we love cricket, you know? It's a battle of strategy, a test of character, and a celebration of what people can do.
Well said. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into India's dominance in cricket. We looked at their stats, their strategy, the money involved, and of course, the final against New Zealand. I hope you all learned something new about this fascinating world.
It's been awesome exploring all these different sides of the game, and as we've seen, nothing's ever certain in sports.
Absolutely. So as we get closer to the final, let's enjoy the excitement. It's a chance to see two giants of the sport go head-to-head.
And beyond the wins and losses, the trophies, let's remember what really matters. The friendship, the respect, the love of this great game.
Couldn't agree more. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep the spirit of cricket alive.